Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about the exact steps that you need to take to gather intel about your competitors and how to use this information so you can revamp your strategies and attract your ideal clients and grow your business. Because if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And you should be the one to have the knowledge and to grow your business. And I am so excited and honored to welcome Jane Clark to co-host with me on this live stream. Jane and I have known each other for, it turns out, 14 years. We were young back then. Now we're middle-aged women. So we're just growing old together, as good marketers do. And she is a marketing strategist. She's a brand designer. She's amazing at what she does. She's worked with Fortune 300 companies. She's worked with hundreds and hundreds of small businesses and nonprofits. And she's also worked with celebrities. And she's also one of the most fun people I know. So Jane, thank you so much for joining me. I really
This is
appreciate
my
this.
honor. I am absolutely terrified. Let's do this. My
Okay.
first live stream. Well, podcast
No,
don't count.
you do that. And you do like the audio. You've done the audio events and everything like that on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
So gotcha. So and by the way, we are. By the way, Joanne says hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Joanne, welcome. Joanne is one of our like biggest fans of Delaware Shout Out. So Joanne, thank you so much for
Yay.
joining us. And by the way, everyone, please follow Joanne's example. Feel free to put anything you want in the comments. It could be compliments, questions, more compliments. No, but seriously, any comments or questions you have, please do so. And Tanny, welcome. Tanny, I've gotten to know really well, and well, actually, everyone I know is awesome. So, because you know
That's
what, life's too
true.
short to not be around people who are awesome, and if they're not awesome, you know, you find a way. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we need to kind of set a bigger picture here in terms of how to before you just start digging in and trying to get all the information. You just need to lay the groundwork here. And the first thing is to start with you and what sort of goals do you have, okay, with getting this information? So and ask yourself, why do I want this information? Because I'm going to let you know, when we go through this live stream, you're going to see so many different things that you can gather, that you're going to want to narrow it down. But you're also going to want to ask, your team what they want to learn as well. Now, Jane, you have a team, so what sort of things would they see that you kind of looking more at the bigger picture for a lot of these things? Like, what sort of things would they say that they might want to
Well,
know?
yeah, usually it might have to do with project workflow, and how things are done. And also a script if, well, we're going to talk about that later, what to do if, you don't have those answers. But
Exactly.
yeah, they have a lot of knowledge and you just have to be open to the feedback. And they'll tell you their pain points for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, and by the way, I know Jean, you're gonna. I want to ask you about what sort of things you want to ask that you want to learn about overall. But I also want to greet TOS Pro Coaching and Hammy and Brody and Wendy Scott
Oh,
for being here on the live stream. So welcome. So
hello,
what's
hello.
yeah. What sort of things would you be asking yourself to help you figure out which information you totally want to know?
Yeah, and I would look at it from an internal standpoint first. So, do you want to increase your followers in a certain platform? Do you want to be known for a certain skill and you want to become authority in that area? So really think about, where you want to be in just 6 months, 5 years, have a vision for yourself. And that always helps. And when you put it pen to paper, or pencil to paper, if you're like me, I'm a little dangerous. I like to
Well,
go
we're
back
old,
and
so
write.
we do use pens and paper. I just learned I had a printer. I had no idea. And now what I'm doing is I'm printing out all my emails. Because that's what people our age do. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Gosh,
You have your
no, no, no.
mojo. I'm sorry.
Think about I want to be a sought after agency. I want a wait list. I want to work less hours and have more quality clients. So it really could
Yes.
be anything, but if you could change one thing and then actually have steps to do it and nail it, I've done it last year. It's crazy once you
Awesome.
put your mind to something and
Yes. Oh, and you're fierce, so I totally see
Yeah.
that.
Thanks.
So let's start gathering the intel, okay? Because that's
Yeah.
why we're all here, okay? We're going to be
Yeah.
spending a lot of time on that, and again, stick with us because even after we go through all of that, we're going to talk about like what do you do with this information, okay? Because like that's like the
Yeah.
next step. Okay, so and some of this information we're getting on LinkedIn, and most of it we are for this live stream, but some of it we're going to talk about things you can do off of LinkedIn as well. And I have to thank Jane if you want to, share this because like Jane came up with the idea of creating some type of like checklist document and that you can kind of refer to. And we actually created one for you. But if you want to kind of share the things that are on this checklist, and for those of you who don't want to get the checklist, totally fine, but because we're going to be going through everything in detail.
Yeah. And, if you hate the slide format, you can blame me. But if hopefully that's just how my brain thinks, so hopefully it works for you. But you can absolutely just keep track as you find out who the key players are in your industry.
Yeah.
Um, so gathering the intel, let's do it. So again, you have a document and let's get going. So the first one is really your target audience, and this is where it all starts for me. So um, one of my competitors actually is a sports brand. They do sports and that's it. And I have no desire to do sports. Have I done it? Yes. Can I do it? Yes. But I would much more rather use him as a referral partner than a competitor. So
Right.
when we're thinking about target audience, we're not just thinking about, your B2B, but your competitors can also be referral partners as well if you don't step on each other's toes too much. So ultimately, my strategy for identifying um, competitors and your target audience is based on the offering. So some of the things that they think about would be, one second, flipping screens.
That's okay. While you're doing that, I'll say hey to Sweet Dreams Travel Agency who said hello to everyone, and I'm glad that Hummingbirdy
Hello.
loves loves marking things off. So yes, I love checklists. You know what I sometimes do? Like sometimes I'll actually put a task on my list that I just did, and then like check it off. So I feel like I was even more productive. Like I checked off more things on my list. Okay, did
Yeah,
you find where you
I
are?
totally do that. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to do the
totally here.
comedy hour
So
until you find it. Okay.
I'm here, I'm here. So for target audience, and honestly, guys, when you have an offering or a service, you might have different target audiences for them.
Oh, Jane, we can't hear you.
You can't hear
Oh,
me.
now I can hear you. Okay, sorry. Um,
Are we good? We're good?
I think we're good.
Houston, we're good. So, what do your demographics look like? What ages are they? Are they men? Are they women? What nationality? What religion? You can get really specific. And so for me, what I look for in one of my services, let's say branding, businesses and nonprofits at least 5 years old. Why is that? Because one, they're a little bit more established and they're not a startup. So if depending on what industry you're in, startups might be exactly who you're looking for. And so you'll probably know, of course, they have no money. Check one, they don't have a whole lot of experience. You might be working with founders. They might have flight of ideas. So really get to know who your target audience is and what they want. Values and motivators. What do they care about? Are they political? Are they into their community? Are they trying to make money? And a lot of it, I mean, everyone has their own values and
Yeah,
motivators for
yeah.
sure.
And I'm so glad you mentioned this because if you don't understand who your target audience is, then you're not going to understand who your competitors are. So that makes perfect sense. So
Exactly.
yeah. So what other things are on this magic checklist that you
Well,
created? Like, and you took a lot of time on it, so thank you for
no,
it.
it's okay. The psychographics again is attitudes, values,
Yeah.
interests, social status,
Hmm.
beliefs, habits, personality, lifestyles, and
Yeah.
you can just observe this. And one of the ways that I kind of figure out who my target audience is, especially if let's say you didn't do this work, you're at least 5 years old, is to take your top five favorite clients and compare them. Like what makes them great? What makes them an awesome client? Why
Hmm.
are they going to be your ideal target audience? And based off of that, you're going to discover what motivates them, what keeps them up at night. And this is what
Awesome.
will connect you directly with, that messaging.
Awesome.
Um, they're going to think you are talking directly to them if you do it right.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So, And in terms of like a checklist for when we're gathering intel on our competitors, beyond, making sure they have the same or a similar enough target audience, what other things are important to look for?
The last one I would say is, one second. Look at that, I already did it. What keeps them up at night is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I would say that's like the biggest thing.
Okay.
And again, the last thing I will say is that for each different offering will be a different audience. So my web
Mhm.
target market is completely different from my branding target market.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, awesome. And
are
some
we
other
start
things.
gathering?
Yeah. So, yeah, as we're gathering, so, one thing, for example, I know that, we've talked about is, that you can be looking at is brand personality, how, and again, we're going to be also doing a deep dive into how you find all this information. So, FYI, we're not just going to say, here's the checklist and good luck. But for each of these things we're going to talk about, we're going to say, how do you find all this on LinkedIn? How do you find it outside of LinkedIn? But brand personality, I know, is one of them. Products and services. In other words, what products do they offer and services do they offer compared to you? What is their pricing compared to yours? And what I find is that a lot of times when you're thinking of your competition, you stop at the products and services and pricing. Okay, when the idea of competition goes so much deeper than that. So,
Yeah.
what are some other things that were added to the competitor intel checklist?
Yeah. And I kind of want to preface this by saying, yes, like, thief or comparison can be the thief of joy. And you might even have triggers, right? You might even notice, ooh, I feel a certain kind of way when I'm researching this.
Oh yeah,
And honestly, get that, and two things. One, lean into that resistance because that's where the good stuff is. You're going to feel so uncomfortable. You're going to feel sleazy. You're going to feel sophisticated and intelligent. I mean, you're going to feel a variety of emotions as you do this. But ultimately, for me, better or sorry different is better than best 100% of the time,
yeah,
so and I've done this since I was a kid. I always want to be different no matter what. So that is sort of what we bring into our brand personality, and this is the biggest thing. Like, if you, let's say you're in a generic industry and the
hmm
services are the services, the products are the products, your brand personality is what's going to win the day, you know
that's true.
so
I agree with
yeah,
that.
so for Brand Swan, we're exciting agency, so we have lots of colors. We have a vibe. We are black, teal, pink. We're pretty vibrant. We're a modern agency. We have a big portfolio.
hmm
We try to have like a magical vibe. We're engaging. We're fun, playful. Our services are full service, but what makes them different than, say, Delaware Shout Out? No training. Right.
Yeah,
So when
right.
I put a competitor down here, I always say, like, what's their deal? What makes them different? But we'll talk more about that
Yeah,
soon.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
so beyond the brand personality and the products and services and the pricing, okay, what other things are we going to be looking for as we're gathering this intel?
I would say that, well, the team size and corporate structure for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And I think this is a variety of things. One, it's awesome to get to know people. I love meeting my competitors because usually they're they worked as hard as I did, and they are where they are, and it's just really great to see that, because I think there's plenty of work for everyone. And so just finding the best fit is really what this is all about, based on who you are. So when we gather the leadership of our competitors, who's the leadership? So for brands, I'll do Brands One and Delaware shout out. So
That's
for
fine.
Brands One, I'm the face of the company. I'm officially middle age. We have a diverse team. We have a team of six, and our corporate structure, we're private companies, small
Mhm.
team. We have somehow several departments, even though we're a small team. And the way I'm set up is I'm the only employee, and they have their own businesses, and they come and work for me. So that's
Yeah,
my corporate structure.
yeah.
Delaware shout
Wait,
out.
wait. Here, where's my corporate structure?
Yeah.
It's me. That's it. Wait.
I
Company's gone. Wait, it's back.
no.
It's back. It's back now.
Oh,
Thank
oh.
God. Okay.
So are we having internet problems today?
No. So.
All right, but listen, so Brooke is middle-aged solopreneur. Corporate structure, Brooke and only Brooke,
Yep.
but that might change at any point. And so I
Yep.
honestly revisit this stuff quite frequently.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna
Um,
I'm gonna stay solo. That I just march to my own drum beat. That's That's my happy
Well,
space.
let's
So
be
yeah,
real. Once you get to a
yeah.
certain point in your career, let's say 10 years, you can just do one thing and make
Hmm.
six figures.
Exactly.
One
Exactly.
project a month, right? But that's not
Yes.
really why we're all here.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
so what else
All right.
beyond team size and corporate structure is on our
All right.
list?
The one thing I do want to mention about just some of these things is that, the team size, how engaging are the people on the team? Are they
Yeah.
sharing information? But I think we're going to talk more about that later. But that's why I'm
All of this
asking
we're
who
talking
is
about.
the
Yeah.
faces?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what I also like to point out, and this can just be an observational thing, is competitor marketing that is working. And how do we
Yes.
figure that out? And Brooke, I think you're going to lean more into this, but let's go look. Let's go to
Yeah.
LinkedIn and look and see um, what's working. And I would look for
Yes.
high performing posts, right?
Yes.
Ones
We'll
with
be
lots of
looking at that.
engagement on it. And what I've been finding is that a lot of behind the scenes are what's performing really well with
Mhm.
agencies in particular.
Exactly. And also just public perception in general. And some of this is going to be a little harder to get on LinkedIn because most people
Oh,
tend to play nicey nice, but we're going to be like talking about that too. And by the way, one question that Hummingbird asked is where do we find the checklist? And great question because I was about to share that. And that is so, this is perfect timing. So thank you for asking. In the description for this, of this live stream, my LinkedIn profile link and also Jane's LinkedIn profile link, they're both there. So connect with and or DM one of us and we'll get the checklist to you. That is how you're going to be doing it too. And thank you for everyone else who's been joining us too. And Trey's videos, thank you for sharing about sense of humor. So that's what keeps us going for sure.
yeah.
So, okay. And one thing that's also, important is that, while a lot of things can be, there is competitive analysis software out there. It's the best time to not be able to speak is during a live stream. That's what I always say, and I'm doing it.
I didn't even
So,
notice.
okay. I like totally switch words. So anyway, so there is competitive analysis software out there and it can track some things, but it can't track everything. So that's why, and so a lot of the things that we're going to be looking at are kind of like the soft things, not like we're going to be looking at hard numbers, but some of the soft things too that you'll be able to find. And and Jane, I know that we've talked about like having to block out your schedule, to do this. Like what sort of things should you be blocking out specifically?
Well, I think it depends on what platform you're on.
Hmm.
So for me, as a professional, I'll just say as Jane Clark, I only do one thing. It's usually one thing on LinkedIn. And what I tend to do is just make it a really quality post. I might do an expanded portfolio carousel they can flip through that they can download. So there's a lot of things like that
Yeah,
you can do.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, and you definitely want to block out like, what you'll complete, when you'll complete the research. Okay. Because you can say, okay, I'm going to gather all this or I'm going to gather parts of it. And then it doesn't happen. So you put it in the calendar to do the research. Okay. And then also, two other things. Put in your calendar when you're going to translate this information into something usable. Okay. And then
Yeah.
finally, when you're actually going to take action on what you've discovered. Okay. So these things need to be blocked out. Otherwise, this is just a nice thing to talk about. So let's go ahead. We're going to start gathering some intel on LinkedIn. Okay. And I'm going to do a little screen share here. And unfortunately with my screen share, I have it where it just shows me and not Jane. So if you ever see Jane talking, you just see me just like not talking. That's what happened there. So next time I'll do a better job with this. Okay, so first of all, believe it or not, we're going to be looking at both company pages and personal profiles. If you are a regular to my channel, you know that I've talked about how personal profiles are where it's at on LinkedIn, and we will be talking about that and looking at what to look at in people's personal profiles. But it is helpful to look at a company page for a few reasons. So let me go ahead and share my screen too. We're going to start with that. Just a second. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. And all right, so let's say we're at actually, let's do this. So let's say you're evaluating a competitor, and let's say your competitor is Microsoft,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you're ambitious. You're very ambitious, and you know you can forgo your family and life. So let's see. So one thing you want to look at is just like, first of all, just the overall branding, okay? Because again, in this checklist, one of the things that we talk about is, okay, what does the brand feel, and all of that. So that's one of the things. Now, Jane, you had talked about how you can look at their posts as well. What should you be looking for in general with their posts?
Yeah. So for me, again, it's about like how often they post, how many engagements they get, and who those engagements are from. Are these people with a premium LinkedIn? Are these people coaches? And I can usually tell who their audience is based on the comments of those posts as well. So you can really get a lot of information from just seeing that. And also, I would do like the top three, just maybe the most recent in 3 month
Yes.
time frame. So that way you can see their content pillars a bit more and what they actually talk about and how successful it is for them.
Absolutely. And one thing that's important is, I'm sorry, I'm like scrolling a little bit, and I've learned from my audience retention charts on with my videos, if I scroll too much, people leave. So I'm like trying not to scroll too much. But when you're looking at
Don't
people's,
leave us.
don't leave us, please stay. Okay, so we worked so hard for this. Okay,
Oh my
so
God, there's a guy in Finland. We can't let him down.
no, no. So let's see, and we complained about the cold here in Delaware. Can you imagine how cold it is in Finland? So okay, so when you're on a company's page and you're looking at posts, okay, one thing to also look for, and again, this is from a branding standpoint, are the posts more formal and glossy? Right? Or
Mm,
are they tough, like rougher and perhaps more focused on relationships? Because that can sometimes tell a lot about how they approach their business. Okay, it doesn't say everything, because I will tell you, I have met clients who, have a heart of gold, but all they know is to, have something that looks a little bit more glossy, till, they work with me and stuff like that. But in general, like, do the posts generally talk about themselves all the time? Or, which can indicate something, or do the posts, like, lift up their clients, lift up others in the community, educate?
yeah.
That says something about the community, and it really shares a lot about the values. And software, competitor analysis software, is not going to be able to do that. But these are some of the things you want to track. Another thing
Yeah.
that you want to track, and when you're on a company page, is if you go to the jobs tab, okay? And you're going to see, and scroll down on this a little bit, okay? And if it's a larger company, they'll have this. If it's a smaller one, you're not going to, necessarily see anything. Click on Show All Jobs down here, okay? And let me just click on this right here. And there's so many things you can learn about a company's values and what they look for in people, to get a sense of their team. Because if you understand what's going on behind the scenes of their company, as best as you can, obviously, then that's going to help you understand, a whole lot more about what the customer experience can be like, and all of that. So I recommend, if they post any jobs, look at their job listings, okay? And also, if you need to, a lot of some job listings, not all, I wish they all did, had, they might list the salary. I think that's a fair thing to do, actually, by the way. Okay,
Yeah,
this one.
agree.
Okay, this one actually isn't okay, that's an internship. Maybe they're not paying for that one. But I know I've seen, anyway, I know I've seen like salaries listed on, there we go. So if anyone wants to be a customer engagement lead for Microsoft, remote, it's 129 to 248 per year. Oh, that's sales strategy enablement. So again, if you want to like quit your job and just do this job, you're welcome. I
Right.
just told you about it. So
Bye, Brantons.
yeah,
Ignore you
but
later.
but so anyway, but look for, how much are they, paying people? And in these job descriptions, what sort of skills or background are they looking for? What you'll also see in these job descriptions is commitments. What are they committed to? Okay. This speaks a lot about their branding. And, again, these are soft things that you want to be able to pick out. Okay. What I also recommend, if it's a larger company, you see up here near the top left-ish, it's more just near the top, it says set alert. If you ever just want to be alerted to any jobs they have opening, click on set alert, and now you'll be notified. every single time. And, that just to kind of keep you on their toes in terms of what's going on there. The other thing I recommend is on their company page. Let me go back to the company page here. By the way, is there anything, while I'm looking at this, is there anything in comments that you're seeing that I need to be aware of, Jane?
I'm just socializing.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Thank
lots
you.
of cool people here today. We got a crap ton of people here.
Well,
We
but
do have
they're
a
not
question,
crap.
but
They're a
we'll
crap
wait for
ton, but not
that.
crap. I just wanted
Yeah,
to.
crap ton.
Okay.
Apologize.
But okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure there weren't any like things saying you can't see your screen or anything like
No,
that.
I think
Okay.
we're in the clear. No
Okay,
news is good
cool.
news.
So again, we are on the company page. We're on the people tab. Okay. Now this is super important because it was super interesting. Okay. So what you can do is look at what how for example what does the company place value on. So we're on Microsoft. So engineering and IT are higher than, say, come on, Brooke, you can do this. Then some other, wait, click on show more. Okay, then arts and design or human resources or, what have you. So you can kind of see where your competitors' priorities are. You can also look at the skills, you can look at other things in this associated members section so that you can again see what they are prioritizing, and that can help you understand again so much more about them. But what I also recommend is if again, it would be nearly impossible to do this with a company like Microsoft, but for a smaller company, if you look at the people, let me go ahead and scroll down all the way. Can I do this? Wait a minute. This is where I want to go. If you go to the employees up here, see where my cursor is, and you click on that. Again, this would be for a smaller company. You can like work out a little bit of the corporate structure in terms of who works there. Now you can't do that completely because not everyone's on LinkedIn. Although with 1 billion people on Earth at least having a LinkedIn account now, I think you're going to get a pretty decent picture of where they are with things. I will also say, I'm sorry, I keep on going back and forth. I like to try to do things in a very structured way, as most of you know who have seen my videos, but apparently I'm going haywire going when I'm live. Just a second. If you scroll all the way down, okay, scroll all the way down, we're on the home tab of the Microsoft company page. If you have premium, not only would you see that there's, they're losing a few employees here, but if you had premium, you'd also be able to see what the losses are within, or gains are, within certain job functions. Okay, so again, you can see where the movement is. That can help a lot as well. Now, for those of you who know me, I like to squeeze as much as I can possibly out of LinkedIn for free, and that's what I typically teach. So I only do the premium trial once a year when I'm allowed to, just to keep on playing with it. And one of my clients allows me to play with her premium as well. So thank you to her. You know who you are. But in general, this is what you'll see, at least if you have the free version. I have more to say, but any comments, Jane, so far on this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's a lot. And, again, I go back to what we're trying to do is just find out who our competitors are so we can differentiate, figure out what they're doing. And there's just so much you can glean from just having a LinkedIn connection that might know a company, So if you have any little middlemen in there who could introduce you, that might be cool too.
Yeah. And yeah, that is super cool. Or if you had could fly a drone in an open window, I would say that would be another good strategy to do. And you heard it from us here in this live stream.
Yeah.
Other things. Okay, disclaimer, legal disclaimer. Don't do that. Okay. So other things you can look at from a people standpoint. This is interesting. So if your competitor tends to have salespeople, okay, look and see how many sales reps there are at the company compared to sales managers at the company. So if you see a lot of, and actually let me go ahead and just stop my screen share just for a second here. Just bear with me. Here we
And this
are.
is so brilliant, by the way, because just knowing how many salespeople there are really tells you a lot about the company
Yeah.
and what their goals are.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, but if there's like a high sales rep to sales manager ratio, in other words, there's like, there are tons of sales reps and not so many sales managers, that can suggest a more centralized kind of, structure to the company. It also might suggest less individual coaching of their sales reps. Whereas if you happen to have more sales managers per sales rep, or you know what I mean, you understand what I'm saying here, then that can
Totally.
suggest that the sales reps are getting more training, and it can suggest that there's more hands-on management. So it can tell you a lot. So when you're looking at these people, look at those sales ratios. That could be super interesting. Before I share more, let me just also look at some of the other comments here. So Audra says, let's see. Actually, I think I can click on this. Can I do this? Just bear with me. There we go. Audra Ross says, can you talk about how these competitor intel strategies and what you can discover on LinkedIn can also work for individuals who are in a high level job search? So a lot of things, thank you, Audra, for asking. So a lot of the things that we are sharing, especially the next thing we're going to talk about. I'm just going to share it right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Tenure.
that. Yeah.
Tenure. Okay. So if you see, a lot of people pull up, you type in Microsoft, let's just say it. Okay. I'm just giving that example. And, a lot of people pull up, but you see a lot of them are former employees. Like you can also look at the tenure of people, the people who are currently Microsoft. Okay. Oh, this person's been here 6 months. This person's been here a year. This person's been here 3 months. I'm seeing a pattern. We're not,
Yeah.
whereas this person's, where the next, or, conversely, you find 5 profiles and, their average tenure is, 10 years. You can look at the tenure, because I will tell you sometimes it's an uncomfortable question to ask in an interview. But boy, it is right there in front of you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't know if you guys have ever made the mistake of working for a company that had like huge turnover, and you just naively thought that you'd be the employee that they'd actually, not drive out. But
Everyone
I've
else
done,
is
but
everyone else
I've
is
done
too
that.
busy to do it.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm special. They'll love me forever. And I'll love them forever now.
Yeah.
Okay. But
That's a
also,
great point. It shows the support that they might
yeah,
have.
yeah. And Audra, another thing you can look for, and this is for everyone too, is look at location. So, in other words, are people clustered in one or two areas? It suggests like more localization, more customization, or are they all spread out, which can suggest again like things are much more standardized throughout, and that also from a marketing standpoint can really make a huge difference. So. Jane, like what other
Yeah.
like I know you've talked to me before about like making sure you follow the page and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely follow the pages. And again, you can also unfollow them because, again, if you're starting to feel a kind of way or you're starting to get in your head and have imposter syndrome, might need to take a break from seeing your competitors' posts. Please feel free to do that. It's absolutely normal to feel that
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
But following the page, you're definitely going to get the updates. Unlike, right now, the algorithm's all sorts of, well, Brooke, I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah.
And also the notification bell. So you see everything all the time.
Yes. Yes. When you click on the notification bell, you'll see you have an option to see all their posts if you want to, and that would be helpful. By the way, Sweet Dreams Travel Agency asks, so which page is more important, personal page or company page? Overall, it's going to, and it's your personal page, like in terms of marketing, in terms of, your career search and all that. Okay. It's a personal profile, okay? But we did want to make sure that you looked at certain things on the company page in terms of competitor intel. So I really appreciate you asking that, because that's a question that I get a lot. Triad Personal Paperwork Services, thank you so much for answering Audra's question when we didn't get to it right away. Let's see. Go ahead. What were you going to
If
say,
I
Jane?
may, yeah, if I may interject, I think something I also look for is, do the people share the business pages on their personal LinkedIn, because that tells me a lot of information. That tells me that they're proud of the work, that they support and endorse that company, right? And if your
Yeah.
employees aren't sort of, sharing your posts, especially if it's a behind the scenes thing, you have a problem with your
Yeah.
team.
Exactly.
But yeah, they should be excited to share information. They should be excited to work there, and that's
Yes.
really what. And it's the company culture. It says a lot about that.
Yes. And by the way, one thing, Jane, I would love for you to answer because this like totally speaks up your, well, it very much speaks up your alley. Let's put it that way. Trey's videos asks, can these strategies work for a freelance graphic designer looking for large companies / clients?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to want to follow Jacob Cass, who is sort of like the end all be all of consultants for other graphic designers. So I kind of consider him like an industry hero. So he does it really well. But a freelancer, you're way more approachable as a person going to work for a company here, company there, because you're part of a team. If you brand yourself as a company, you're not as approachable. So
Absolutely. So, all right. And Joanne is asking, is YouTube frozen? I hope not. Is it okay on your end, Jane?
let me go take a peek. I'm
Hopefully.
trying not to
And while
look
you're
over there.
while you're doing that, I'm going to move on to the next thing I want to share. Okay, never. Joanne says all is good. Okay.
Yep, it's all good.
Thank goodness. Okay, cool. Okay, so I want to share my screen again because one other thing that what you're going to find when you're doing competitive research is when you're on your company page, okay, you're going to see, let me actually just start from the beginning here. Let me just go to Delaware Shout Out just so you see from the beginning. Okay, so, okay, gotcha. So you'll see if you go to analytics here, okay? Now, as you can see, like things have gone down over the week. Actually over the month, I'm really not sweating this because again, I put my heart and soul into my personal profile. That's where the magic is, not the company page. And here I am defending myself. But anyway, but you'll see in analytics, there's a tab called competitors. And I want to kind of share with you what to pay attention to and what not to really sweat here. Okay. So, because it really doesn't tell the full story. So you'll see that you can actually, add just bear with me a second. You can actually like add a competitor, or more to, analyze. Okay. So just for purposes of this, I just, added Brand Swan so you could see, oh, how am I doing against Brand Swan? Because we're nemesis. Oh wait, no, we're not.
Fierce competitors.
Yes. So one of the things you'll see is new follower metrics. Okay, and you'll see that like I'm down I've gained 27 over the last month, and Brand Swan has gained 3. But that says nothing. You know why?
Lame.
You know why? It's so because here's the thing: no one's stopping a company from like the people who belong to the company inviting basically people and inviting people to follow the company page. And I do that every single month. Like, not because how do I put it? And I just do it just to remind people I exist. Okay. It's just a really quick excuse. So all that means is that I was sure to click on all 250 people to invite. That says nothing about how great the page is. Okay. So keep that in mind with follower metrics. That tells you nothing. Post metrics, you'll see that engagement, my engagement's higher, but overall it's down from the previous month, whereas Brand Swans went up. Again, both Jane and I do focus on our personal profiles more than that. So,
Brand Swan is literally just sitting there. It's doing nothing at the moment.
I
somehow gained 3 followers. So woohoo!
Yeah, and mine does very little. But what I will say is that if you see like some like let's say Brand Swan's like engagement number here was like 2,000. You're like, what did Brand Swan do? And then you're going to scroll down here and say, oh wait, I'm so sorry, total post metrics. I apologize for that. I'm going nuts here. I'm like actually blanking out like a middle-aged woman. Okay, so I'm sorry. This is the total post. I'm sorry. This is the total post updates. In other words, how many posts we've done. I don't know why I blanked out on that. Okay. Engagement is right here. Yeah, okay, I can do this. Okay, your engagement is right here. So, but okay, here's something interesting. Brand Swan had a 3,800% increase in engagement over the last 30 days, and mine went up 100%. Whoa. Okay, so now you can, if you see something really startling, okay, like this, it's worthwhile then going down to scrolling down a little bit more and saying, okay, what did Brand Swan do? Well, you know what Brand Swan did that is so cool. And again, like these are really good posts to do. Okay. She lifted up one of her amazing employees, Kelsey, and then she also did one about her employee Michelle as well. So these are things where she celebrated them, and it's human, and it's awesome. And I'm drinking water. So
Yeah,
anyway,
and they
it's
shared the post on their own
yeah,
LinkedIn, which I didn't
exactly.
expect, although
Exactly.
makes sense.
So yeah, so this is why. So it can be helpful, but I just want to let you know you can glean a little bit from the analytics competitors section of your company page, but it's not as great as some other things. So let's see. Would you be able to speak to then, Jane? Let me actually stop my screen share. So I know I've been suggested by more than one person. Brooke, you need to like hire someone to kind of be like a moderator to kind of switch back and forth rather than you do everything. And that is probably the case, but I'm just not there yet. Okay, so would you like to speak to looking at the profiles of your competitors' team members?
Hmm. Well, it's Delaware, so I feel like this is a little bit of a special case
Yeah.
because I might know someone already that works there. What I will say is when it comes to my competitors, I have some ground rules. One, I don't try to take their employee. I don't try to do that. Um, I really just want to be different from them. And the more information I gather, the better I can be, the better different I can be.
Yeah, the
Better
better
different. I'm going to
different.
coin that.
That's
Yeah.
that
And
should be our
so,
new logo. The
yeah.
be better different.
Yeah. However, what I will say though is that if a if you're noticing that a company has really great employees, they've been there, like Brooke was saying, for many years, or the head of the company, and he's a well-known person in the community, like there's nothing you can do to beat that. You just have to celebrate it, and that's what I choose to do. So, so I'm very friendly with my competitors. I congratulate them. I have many designer friends and they are direct
Yeah,
competitors, and it's
yeah,
just the name of the game in my particular industry. But you can really glean a lot. What are their goals? Did they do anything? Are they growing in their career? Are they doing continued education? Are they on the move? Like these are the things that excite me because they kind of instill a FOMO effect.
yes,
Like, wow, look at
yes,
this person. They're in the prime of their life and they're working at this awesome company, and like that brings a lot of energy, and just makes you hungry.
yeah,
And that's what I
exactly.
gleaned from that. Yeah.
Exactly. And by the way, I mean, I know even the LinkedIn marketing world, a lot of us get along very, very well. Like I know John Asperian is, I don't know if he's still on, but he's been watching. He put a little comment in, and so did Nigel Cliff. So, you just have to kind of get along. But I will tell you, if you want to, it is helpful to still look at their profiles to gain certain things. So, and you may not necessarily want to connect with them, but, at least look, for example, how well is their profile filled out? Okay. What sort of things do they talk about? Does their profile still look like how it looked when they were looking for a job 2 years ago,
Yeah.
or are they actually proudly, um, sharing how
Updating.
awesome, yeah, how awesome their company is that they represent. Let's see what I'm sorry. I'm actually like looking at my notes here. So if I look down, that's what's going on here.
Oh yeah, lots of notes.
Yes, exactly. But also look in their activity section as well. So actually, let me go ahead
Yeah.
and share my screen. And Joanne, I do know that you have a question. I will
Yeah.
get to that in just a second. So here we
Yeah, the activity is
go.
absolutely the biggest giveaway.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing I want to mention. I am a total advocate for AI, but you can tell when an intern's using AI versus a professional that's been in the industry using
Yeah,
AI. So
exactly.
if they're doing that, then I know that they don't have a very experienced marketing department, which just tells me they might not be, maybe they're getting referral based and that's how they're so busy.
Right.
So you can infer a couple of things from from your observations.
Exactly. So I'm on
Yeah.
Jane's profile right now,
Oh, God.
and
All
so let's put you on the spot here. So go down
right,
to
let's do it.
their activity section, but not only do I want you to go ahead and look at what are they posting and what sort of engagement, which we already talked about, but look at comments. Okay, how much are they engaging with other people? Does it look like they have like a tight knit kind of group thing going on? Or not a group, but I shouldn't say that. Does it look like they're tight knit with their connections and their network,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
are they putting, or
Are
are they
they
sharing?
familiar?
Are they familiar? Are they also sharing meaningful comments versus great
Yeah. Good
post, Bob?
job.
Yeah,
Love this.
love this.
Now I
Thumbs
do
up.
say that a lot, but
But
I
but
try to
if
do those stuff too.
yeah, but it's okay. But it's okay if you do it once in a while. But it's like if it's like
Yeah,
those are all your posts that or all your comments, then that says something. So be sure to look in the
yeah.
activity section because a lot of times we kind of forget to do that. But then also see who they're engaging with. Do you think it's with potential clients, potential referral partners? If you're like, ooh, it looks like they have like a thing going on here, but I would love to get to know that person too. So look at this. So you can see how you can go in so many different directions, and we're not even done yet with competitor intel. So that's why in the beginning when we said it's really helpful to ask yourself why you want to do competitor intel and what specifically you need to know, because otherwise you're just going to go in a million directions, and this is one of those directions, and you may find it very helpful. Um, let's see. But you can also look at someone's experience. You can look at their education, like all the different parts of the profile, and see, and again, like this will also help highlight, what does your competitor find important in terms of background for. For their team members, and also, do their team. I'm sure Jane, you have this. I feel confident going down here. What sort of recommendations do they have? Of course, they have recommendations. So yes, and do they have recommendations? What do those recommendations look like? If you want,
Yeah.
you can even like see what sort of recommendations the person has given to see, what do they value as well. And by the way, that is a great marketing tip. By the way, let's say you see someone's profile. This is more like from a sales standpoint. You're looking at someone's profile, you want to sell to them. They're not a competitor, you want to sell to them. Go down to the recommendation section, look to see what recommendations they've given, and look for commonalities of the things that they get excited about and where they place their values. And these are things that you can speak to when you have a sales conversation with them.
That's so good. So good.
Yes, thank you. So even if you decide to do no competitor intel, I hope that this client intel tip will help you. And also, finally, go down and see what sort of see. You just won honors and awards, which is awesome.
Industry groups. Yeah, I
Industry
love this
groups.
part.
Yeah. So tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So I love industry groups, and we definitely want to see where competitors are hanging out. But again, this is my like moral standpoint. I don't try to like take over those groups. I'll find my other group because I'll find my own group, right? So, but if someone's joining, like continued education or industry specific peer groups versus, cause groups. So there's a lot of groups you can join. And again, what does your target audience care about? Where are
Yeah.
they hanging out?
Exactly, exactly. And I know you've also told me about like you can also track their LinkedIn events and stuff like that as
Yeah.
well that they may be doing. Do you want to speak about? Let me actually, while I change screens again and stumble through that, you want to share about intel you can get off of LinkedIn before we talk about like what to do with this information. Where would
Yeah.
you go for intel on your competitors?
So the first thing I would do is go right to Google and I would type in what I think people are searching for to find me. And again, this is more like offer specific. So let's just say, we do branding, web design, marketing. Let's say this is supposed to be for web design, right? Because these keywords are going to be different. I use a tool called Ubersuggest. There is a free version, but it allows you to see the search volume within 7 days of a key phrase. So if I type in, branding company Delaware, I want to see who comes up.
Yeah.
And also, when Ubersuggest kind of shows you the volume, you might find, wow, we're number one for branding Delaware, but only 5 people search for that. So then you realize it's not really a key phrase. Now, you also don't want to just go for branding because now you're looking at all sorts of stuff. You're not going to find what you want.
Yeah.
So people have to narrow down their search. And so you really want to be in the middle. You want a decent amount of interest, but not too little and not too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just put Uber Suggest on the screen here just to kind of
Yeah.
help out.
And so it's a really
Yeah,
cool
and
Google extension too.
yeah. And what other things do you do actually for just even digging up who your new competitors are? Like I know there are some other things that we've talked about.
RFPs. This is how I get a lot
Yeah.
of my pricing. This
Mm.
is a big
Okay.
one. Yeah. So I think I have my competitor. I have a competitor list. And if Wendy's still here, if I'm not on your competitor list, I'm mad at you. I'm in your competitor list. I'm like, I hope I'm on someone's competitor list. So RFPs, what happens is you put together this beautiful presentation, you're bidding against another amazing agencies in Delaware, and you get the email. I'm sorry you didn't get the job. Well, I'm like, I'm like, you have that sinking feeling, and you pick yourself up, and you're like, okay, why? And I expand a bit. I might say, depending on who it is, like, oh, I would love to know what your deciding factor was. I would love any feedback you could give would be amazing of where we stood in the range, and they will tell you. And I found out that one of my who I didn't think was a competitor because she won the bid, and I congratulated her because that's the kind of girl I am. But now I know based on the feedback that our pricing is similar. So when I go into my pricing table, I just put my pricing in there as a comparison.
Yeah.
So now I know that's something we share. We're in the same price range, and that's what makes it dangerous. That's how I know they're a real competitor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And
And
then,
yeah, go ahead. Two other things I
con-
know. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Conferences, sponsors, speakers, attendees, and industry reports. Who's sponsoring all these events? Who's trying to be the authority in this industry, or they are? Um, you know, this will show you the bigger competitors and maybe who you want to be when you grow up, but mostly the authorities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what about Glassdoor Insights or Better Business
Not to
Bureau?
be confused with glass ceiling.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, oh,
Jane
that
and I
glass
talked before.
ceiling
She's like,
up.
"What about the glass ceiling?" I'm like, "What
What?
glass? I mean, I've heard about the glass ceiling, but I didn't." Okay, go ahead. Glassdoor.
Yeah. Hold on, I got a hot flash.
Okay,
I
great.
gotta
While you're
disclose
having a
my
hot flash
glacier.
and dealing with that, I'm shocked I have not already had two already. I told Jane before our live stream, I was like, I'm going to have at least two or three in this hour, and I have not had one, and so God is blessing me. So,
No,
not that He's not blessing you, but He's blessing me more right
I'm
now.
feeling good.
So,
I'm feeling
okay.
good. So, all
Okay,
right.
but there are two. But while you're doing that, let me just since you're doing that, let me just deal with like two questions. Joanne is asking, and I don't know if I can speak to this because I'm much more focused on marketing than I am recruitment. But she says, do you think it's okay to click "I'm interested" bubble on the jobs to let recruiters know you want to work that company in the future? I guess so. If there's someone else who is more in the job market, or Jane, if you can speak to that, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I wanted to make sure I acknowledged Joanne's question. Um, if it's a
Um,
marketing thing, yeah. But if someone here is more in the jobs area and maybe a recruiter is watching this, I know one of my clients is a recruiter. I don't know if he's watching right now, but
I
it's
also
also
have a
early in the
client
morning his time.
recruiter.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But okay. So Joanne, I'm sorry I don't know the answer to that, but you're awesome. I wanted to make sure that at least I acknowledged that question. And then and then Zohaib asks, where can we log into the page? Would you be able to explain more? What are you talking about to a company? Like, what page are we talking about? So that way we can answer that question. So I did see your question, and let me know more what
Yeah,
is
it might
meant
be
by that.
business page. You might need to create one if you don't have one
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. So yeah. So to access your own company, to access a company page, like as an admin, you have to have either built the page yourself, in which case you're automatically a super admin, or are granted admin access by by another
Yeah.
admin. Basically, is how it works. So let's say we have all this intel, okay, and we've gone from all these places, and maybe we've narrowed down.
Oh,
Um,
BBB. Sorry, I forgot
oh
that
yeah,
one. The Better
BBB. I'm
Business
so
Bureau is a
sorry.
big one.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Go ahead.
Google
Please talk.
reviews and their website. Yeah, just look, just go and I don't want to use the word stalk, but do a Google search and see what you find. And if you realize they have a lot of BBB complaints, they have a customer service problem, and what you could do is just stress in your marketing if that's already a core value of yours that, that's what you excel in. So
Yeah.
again, just being different.
Without mentioning the other people, of course, but it's more
yeah.
just
Unlike
like,
our competitors, we're
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Like,
no, we don't say that, but like, you could say, for example, one problem in our industry is blah blah blah, and what we do differently is blah blah blah. And I think that is a very fair way to say it if that's how you differentiate yourself without knocking down specific people, especially if you just say one challenge or one thing I've heard, that sort of thing. Okay, so we have all this intel, okay, and
now we do, Brooke.
what do we do? What do we do, Jane? You're the younger of the two of us, so your mind is fresher.
Barely. What I will say is that we're so desperate to be seen, but so afraid to stand out. And so we want to do it, but then we don't hit post. We don't put our thoughts out there. And that's something you have to work on it in yourself. Do you have something to say, and do you want people to hear it? And if the answer is yes, then you can proceed. If the answer is no, this platform might not be for you, because with LinkedIn, you just have to be a bit more vulnerable, a bit more personal, a bit more authentic than you even are in real life. It has to almost be like an exaggeration of that. So, oh my gosh.
You okay?
Mika she just hit enter a lot, and now I just got
okay.
She went in my document and stepped on the enter button and just moved everything down like 8 pages. I'm okay now.
That's okay. You're good. Okay, because I can continue on our notes if you need to.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh god, yeah. So keep that in mind. You want to stand out, and in a good way, in a positive way, without tearing anyone down. And when you can consider like kind of breaking down the data, because some of this data that will be in our checklist, it might not apply to you. But just check what's priority for your industry, what really matters to that industry, and then you can kind of, work on it from that point.
Yeah.
And then it just comes down to the delivery methods of, how do we put this information in? And again, it just helps you create a strategy to differentiate yourself and create your competitive advantage.
Yeah. And go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, tell me about oh my God. So the SWOT analysis, you guys probably know, with the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Be real with that. I want you guys to dig dark, and I want you to pull out those things that you might not say out loud that you're feeling. So do that one. And then the battle cards one. Okay, this one,
these are cool.
I just learned about the word battle cards. So tell us about that.
Okay, so battle cards are, for example, this is more for your sales team or anyone where there's inbound stuff, okay? But it could be for you too if you're just like a solopreneur and so in other words, you understand where you might have some competitive strengths or where you need to address certain things after you've kind of or address certain things that might be on your clients' minds based on what is else out there on the market. So what you do is you almost have your own like little scripts that are kind of like in front of you. So if someone says, well, what about blah, blah, blah? Boom, you have it. Okay, that's almost like a battle card. Okay, so I almost don't like the word because it almost seems like you are in battle with a potential client and it should be a partnership, not a war, So, but
the hero of the story.
Yes, but it's basically cue cards or virtual cue cards, for the way that you can address certain things. So this is one way that you can compile the information. So, but you can also do an executive summary, especially like let's say you're compiling it for your boss and they just want the overhead, just doing executive.
Too long didn't read.
Yeah, too long didn't read. Or you could do the full-fledged report. So, but the key is, whether it's SWOT, whether it's, translating things into battle cards, whether it's an executive summary, whether it's a full-fledged report, the key is saying, okay, which way should I be kind of like expressing all this information into one document? Again, this should be one of the things that you set as a deadline for yourself to do, because again, you could have gathered all the stuff and then it goes nowhere. So remember, guys, and I can't believe it, we're actually ending on time because my live streams never end on time, like ever.
I mean, should we keep going? I have a crap ton of stuff I could talk about.
Tell you what, a few more things, and then we'll wrap things up because like I can't believe we'll actually be able to deliver on a promise of ending at 11.
I know,
so.
amazing. Right,
or 1 hour, yeah.
Right. So
go ahead.
The one thing I will say, that if you're not quite sure what your next step should be, I would look at your competitive advantages to help separate yourself. And The competitive advantage is, your cost advantage. Think Amazon because they can buy, right, at very small unit prices. That's how they can be so inexpensive, right? Buying power. Innovation, your quality, differential. That's quite the word. So think like sheer text tights versus snag tights. Customer attraction, think Chick-fil-A. I mean, every time I drive by, there's like a line out the parking lot. I'm like, what's happening? I'm just trying to get home. Customer satisfaction, companies that are, like IKEA, the network, like Kim Kardashian, scale, talent,
Yeah,
reputation, Brene Brown, culture, Taylor Swift, capital, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and, authority, Oprah, Adam
right.
Grant. And
So
yeah,
So yeah, the key is like, okay, where do they excel? But where are you seeing that they don't excel? That maybe either you are, but it's not being made obvious, or you know that
yes,
you really could. Okay,
yeah,
that's the main thing is like find where the gaps are. Like you're not going to be able to fight, where if they really excel in something, just let them excel in that. That's fine. You could either like fight and fight and fight to do better in that
yeah,
thing, or you could say, you know what, but they have this one strength, but they have these five different gaps, and these two in particular, I can really rock. Okay, so it's a lot
exactly, yeah.
easier to do that. And by the way, Joy Bramble says something super interesting. She says the battle card, the both of you against the problem. That is a much better way to think of it. So yeah, you are kind of like making sure um, you don't want to win the argument against a potential client, but your client is a problem that they want you to solve, but you need to prove to them, you kind of almost have to win the argument that yes, I will solve it. So I love that. It's so much more collaborative. So thank you for that, Joy. I really appreciate that. So
Thanks,
anything else to share that is like helpful in terms of, okay, I have this
Yeah.
information. What do I do with it? After I've gathered
Well,
it, like I've actually gathered it, it's in a report or whatever it is. What else?
yeah, honestly, I mean, just write one sentence on what your brand position is. And mine
Mm-hmm.
is quality work, expert reputation, extensive network, women-owned, magical process. And when I figured that out, one, my confidence skyrocketed because I know exactly who I am, where I am, and who I want to work with. And that is just the most powerful thing,
Yeah.
getting confidence, because you can talk about it better, and people know exactly why you. And just having that statement of how you help people is going to be key.
Yes.
But yes, go with what you're really good at, your competitive advantages, and then work backwards on how that makes you different from your competitors.
Awesome, awesome. And by the way, just as a reminder, if you got here a little bit later, Jane and I have a checklist. When I say we've developed, Jane is pretty much the one who developed it. Like she worked so hard on it, and it basically has a checklist of the different things you can look for if you want to even use it to kind of fill things in. And to get that checklist, if you look at the description of this live stream, you'll see links for Jane's LinkedIn profile and also my LinkedIn profile, and you can connect with and or DM one or both of us, and we're happy to get that checklist to you so you have it. And Jane, I just want to thank you so much for that. And just really briefly, since we're here, let me just explain what I do and then also what Jane does. So I focus on LinkedIn strategy and training. I work one-on-one with business owners. However, I am launching a group coaching program, and I'm going to say right here live. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm aiming
What?
for March 1st for
What?
this, and Jane, I'll be coming to you to update my website. FYI, it
Okay.
might be even happening this week. So
That's
anyway,
so cool.
but it's I just that's what I focus on empowering people to run their own amazing LinkedIn programs, so they just like totally shine and they're human and they're building relationships, and I try to make it fun. But there's
Nice.
so many things I don't do, and pretty much everything I don't do is what Jane does. So Jane, what do you do?
Gosh, we do branding, web design, and marketing for legacy organizations and nonprofits. So think companies that have been in business like 10 years plus, and they have so much information and rich history, and they need to refocus it, especially because the market has changed, over the years. So repositioning can be a real good way to gain more market share.
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And, if you have any other questions, please reach out to either one of us. And you guys have been awesome and have a wonderful, wonderful day. So, take care. Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.